Hey guys, in the last video on my 1950 Nash Statesman, we got it to fire up and run. It actually runs really nice. But we do have a couple of problems we've got to take care of before we can try and make this thing move under its own power. Follow along, we'll see what we can get taken care of. Thanks for watching. Problem number one that I think we've got going on here, although it is a 6-volt car, 6 volts just wasn't enough to get the engine to turn over. I think the starter's probably a little on the tired side. That needs to come out of there and go and play on the bench, get a quick clean up, clean all the connections, make sure it's got decent brushes in it, and lubricate all the bushings. Hopefully that'll help get things rolling a little bit better. Problem number 2 and number 3 are kind of in here, and they're somewhat related. When I started playing with the clutch, we kind of lost our connection, I think. So we're going to have to figure out what's going on there. The other problem is under there. That is the start switch, the one on the right hand side. Works from this tab on the clutch pedal. And it is kind of mashed down and it's not working very well. I'm going to try and pull those 2 bolts out of there and see if the switch go down through the floor. And maybe we can pull it out of there and see what's going on. If we get lucky, we'll be able to either clean this one up, or I do have another one on order. They're not terribly expensive. So either we'll get this one fixed or we'll put the new one in. One of the two. Unfortunately, I'm having a hard time seeing what's going on with the clutch down there. The big spotlight in the sky is being somewhat overpowering. We'll deal with the stuff that we get at from the top first, and then we'll see what we got to get to get at that clutch. Maybe once we get this starter out of the way, we'll be able to see what's going on with that clutch linkage. I don't think it's anything too major, but hopefully we can figure it out. It is a bright sunny day and we're working down in a dark hole, so I don't know how much you guys are going to be able to see, but we need to get the main power lead off of there, which is 1/2 inch. And I'm not worried about shorting anything out because there is no electricity hooked up right now. And of course, the extension that I have is just a little bit too long. Let me see if I got a shorter one. We'll try a deep socket, see how that works. Ah, perfect. I don't want to pull that out all the way because that's the easiest one to get at. Let me put the extension on this and see if we can get at the bottom one. I think that's 5/8. Maybe it's only 9/16. It is a nut as opposed to a bolt like the top is. So maybe we need 9/16. Well, it appears that what we've got going on is the stud is unscrewing, not the bolt, or not the nut. Kind of feels like it's a through bolt, not a stud. And of course, the bolt is spinning. It is being difficult. Hey guys, it's a week later. We're back working on the Nash. It got way too hot up here on the hill to be able to hang out wrenching on an old car. So we shut it down. And I was getting pretty frustrated because I just couldn't get access to what we were trying to work on. Now the good news is that gave me an opportunity to check out the service manual and find out that coming at the starter from the top is actually the way we're supposed to do it. But the trick is we got to take the shift linkage out of the way. So I will try and make that happen. I've got to try and come up with a way to get you guys in there so that you can see what we're working on. I do have my little mini camera tripod, so we'll see if we can set that up so you can see what's going on. Oh, we got squirrels. Let me get you guys set up on a tripod. See if we can look down over top of what I'm working on here, and we'll see if we can convince that starter to come out of there. I think it needs a little bit of lubrication. Well, we got the starter loose, but there is no way it is coming out of there without taking that water pump off, and that is would open up a whole new can of hurt, I do believe. But I got the cover off the brushes, and you know, it doesn't look great, but I think we'll just give it a little rinse. Be nice if this can would work. Give it a quick rinse. We'll roll it back over the other way. Rinse off that side. And I hope that's going to put us in good enough shape that this thing will spin over. Worst case, we'll have to use the 12-volt battery for starting, and then we'll let it run on the 6-volt. Not ideal, but might have to be the way it's going to be. Let me finish cleaning up the starter as best we can, and I'll work on trying to get it back in place. Not ideal, but at least now we know. It's not in terrible shape inside of there. Okay, I'll bring it back in a few minutes. Well guys, we're back together again for the most part. This was, shall we say, not a terribly efficient use of time, unfortunately. Got a little bit of cleaner sprayed in around the brushes. Hopefully that'll help us. And we got a good look at a bunch of other stuff that's under there as well. The commutator doesn't look like it's in too bad a shape after I squirted a little bit of the brake cleaner on there. So hopefully the starter will work better. Cross our fingers. Because with that water pump in there, there's no way that starter is coming out. And I don't really want to take that water pump out. But while we're puttering around in here, let's give this stuff, let's give it as good a chance as we can. And give the connection a good scrubbing over with a wire brush. Now that shouldn't have impacted what we were doing because we were using a jumper cable. We weren't using that cable. So, you know, cleaning the end of this cable doesn't really do much. But down here on the starter, I won't say that that stud is the cleanest in the world, so let's give it a good going over too. That looks much better. I'm going to grab a washer and put on there just to give it a better clamp. Not that these are very good washers, but we'll give it a try. Grab a wrench and give that a little snug up. Well, we hope for the best there. Next item on the list for today is the starter switch, which it's down there somewheres. I don't think you can see it. It's on the right beside the clutch pedal, and it is seized in the closed position, but it's still not transmitting power, so we'll have to get that. The other item that we've got, and again, I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see it, right where we can't see it anymore because the light disappeared. Yay! Right there is a crossbar that is part of the clutch mechanism. and it is all askew and not sitting where it needs to be able to engage the clutch. I think it's just off of a fork on the side, on the frame rail side, and it's a matter of overcoming the spring tension and getting it back where it needs to go and getting the rod lined up. If that's the case, then we're good. If it's broken or in some other way beyond repair on the top of a hill, then we're going to be hooped for getting this thing able to drive. But I still would like it to be able to start with the start button. Well, let's get inside the car and we'll see if we can extract the start button and replace it with the new one I got. Working under a dash is never going to be fun. Let's see if we can figure out how to get this all apart without driving ourselves completely nuts. Well guys, I got good news and I got bad news. The bad news is I can't get that switch out of there. I was hoping I could get these two bolts out of here and get the switch over into the opening here, and there's just no way that's happening. This thing would have to be changed out from underneath, and that's just not feasible at this time. However, the good news is I think I managed to get some lubricant sprayed in there and get it moving. So hopefully we've got it freed up to the point where it'll actually work to start the car now. This thing is putting up a big time fight today. Not fun to work on at all. But can't win them all. Anyways, I'm going to put the cover back on so it doesn't get lost. And then we're going to switch around and see if we can figure out what's going on with that clutch linkage. I think I've got it figured out, and I don't think it's a real big deal. If it works out the way I think it's going to work, then that should make it so that we can get this thing, in theory at least, able to move under its own steam. It's not going to happen today because I'm going to need tires, but we'll at least know what we've got to work on in order to get this thing to potentially drive around like we did with the Buick. Well guys, you're not going to be able to see it underneath because I was working by feel. I can't see it, but clutch pedal goes in, clutch pedal comes back out again. That is really, really good. Now, if we can convince that starter pedal to work, and if 6 volts is enough to turn it over, well, let's see what happens. Let me get staged up here, and we'll see if we can at least get it to rock a little bit. That'd be cool. Well, the starter switch might be moving, but it's not making any contact. Let me get the jumper cable strung back up and we'll see if that's going to make any difference. Absolutely no better. Yeah, we got a broken throttle cable. That's not good. Well guys, I don't know that we've necessarily made a whole lot of progress here. The starter doesn't seem to be any better, although the way I've got it rigged up right now, we can kind of make it work, temporarily at least. The clutch works, that's good news, that's a huge win. I was really concerned with that mechanism being all falling apart, that we were going to have some major issues there. But definitely the clutch seems to be working. I think we got some stuck brakes. Definitely, when I let the clutch out, it kind of almost thinks it wants to go, but it doesn't move. We've obviously got some tires we're going to have to deal with. Hopefully they get tubes in them, and they'll just fill up kind of like the fronts on the Buick did. The back, or their tires might be shot like they were at the back of the Buick though. And we've only got so many 15-inch tires kicking around. Got it to run, fires right up, just runs beautiful. But we've got a broken throttle cable, and we're gonna have to get that fixed too. So we're kind of I don't know, a couple steps forward here, a couple of steps back, but we are making some more progress, and I think that's where we're gonna call it for today. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. If you got this far, you know, sum up things, give me a like. If you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to the channel. Love to have you come back and watch more videos. Maybe ring that bell icon so you get notified when I post new content, and we'll catch you guys in the next mess. Thanks for watching. For those of you that are eagerly waiting for more Buick content, don't worry, haven't forgot about it. I've got most of the parts that I ordered in have arrived, so we can start working on this thing again. We've got some issues we got to sort out under the hood with oil line. I want to get the fuel pump rebuilt and get some new rad hoses and a thermostat on it. That's going to be for the next video though, I think. Thanks for watching.